right. Welcome to Chilling with c.bo, guys. My name is c.bo. I am your host, and I am here with the usual three people I usually have for most of the time. My co-host, Juan and only. How you doing, man?
Good. Got my big cup of coffee with a bowl of M&Ms on the side and a Coke in this drink right here. I am sugar caffeine prepped up for this show, baby, because it took so much time for me to get to the movie we got through.
Oh my god.
Pedro, how you doing, man?
Doing very well. Got some Coke in my hand, and I'm ready to discuss the worst movie in all of history.
And Captain Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling fresh. I should have got at least one of the 7 things Juan just said because I feel like I'm missing out. I definitely would enjoy a cup of coffee right now. By the way, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. I feel like that needs to be established.
There's no bad time for coffee, my friend.
Listen, you're talking to a guy who's worked at a coffee shop. I know every good time is a good time for coffee, but like I don't have any now. So it's mainly I'm jealous of you.
Wait, Captain Jack. What? How do you take your coffee?
Black.
That's how I'm taking it right now.
Y'all are wild.
Like
Coffee is garbage.
Right now, and
hold on. Cancel a podcast. Coffee is garbage?
Yes.
I agree with c.bo.
Did the two Colombians of this podcast say that coffee is garbage? Blasphemy, Jack!
I feel attacked.
Yeah, me too. I feel offended.
There's so many good coffees out there.
Yeah, it's not my thing, man.
It's really bitter.
Wait. Do you drink tea?
Yeah.
Yes, I drink tea.
Are you not a hold on a second. Are you a hot drink person?
Yeah.
Not even hot chocolate?
I like hot chocolate. Everyone likes hot chocolate, though.
No. Not everyone likes hot chocolate.
It's a chocolate drink. What's not to like?
People who
Unless
don't.
you put cheese in it, like someone on this podcast.
What?
You put cheese in your hot chocolate, dude.
That's a Colombian tradition. You would know.
What is wrong with you?
Oh my god, wait a second. Cheese? What are you putting cheese in there?
No. So like in Colombia during our Christmas time, it's kind of like a tradition that you put like provolone or like a melty kind of cheese into like a hot steaming cup of hot chocolate. You drink it and then you eat the cheese at the bottom of the cup afterwards.
But
It's
then
disgusting.
it's all chocolatey and
Look, this is a country that
treating
makes
it like
with ice cream, all right, and bacon with a sundae. So are we really gonna judge the choices here?
what is happening?
I don't know what's
this is
happening.
insane. I'm gonna be looking this up while
We
you
went
guys.
from me not liking coffee to Juan talking about his cheese and hot chocolate.
That's a euphemism.
Yeah, wow. All right, I guess we're gonna get started. And the movie we decided to watch for this week's podcast is a very notorious, very infamous adaptation of one of the most beloved animations of all time, and that is 2010's The Last Airbender, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and start. So I was like, so how am I gonna make this movie a fun watch with me? And I'm like, I'm just gonna open my notes app and I'll be like, what is wrong? And just every time there's something wrong with it, I just type something down. Like, what? Okay. So before the movie even starts, before you see any scene in the movie, there's one thing already wrong with it. It's an hour and like 40 minutes, and they're doing a whole freaking season of story in an hour and 40 minutes. Now, the Avatar show isn't even that long of a show. It's only like per season. It's like 20 episodes that are like 20 minutes, and even then, an hour and 40 minutes is way too short. Second of all, it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Now, I actually like M. Night Shyamalan's other movies like The Sixth Sense, Signs, Unbreakable, but those are movies that are low budget and original. This, in no way, when I was watching Unbreakable or Signs or even his newer movies like Split or Glass, that I think, man, this guy can handle an epic fantasy like Avatar. No, there's nothing in his movies that say that. And you can say, oh, Peter Jackson before Lord of the Rings, he could, how did he was directing these indie movies as well. Well, Peter Jackson was a fucking nerd, and he was ready for that. But like M. Night Shyamalan, like when I remember like hearing interviews about him, like he didn't seem that passionate about this property. He's like, oh, my kids liked it and they wanted me to do it, so I did it. And I'm like, okay, like, and like, you know, and then there's other things down the list that within like 10 minutes, you know something's up. So they say Avatar, like Avatar. I don't know why they say that like that. And the pronunciations of Aang, Sokka, and Aang, they call them Ong and Sokka. Like, what? Aang, Sokka, Katara are some boring ass white people. Like, like, are you kidding me? Like, Sokka is one of the most like charming, like funny people, and they made him the most boring, pasty white dude of all like ever. I kind of felt bad for the actor of Aang, well, Ong, because like you could tell he was trying, and you could tell like he wanted to be here, but it's like just the material wasn't there. Also the
There's
Fire
a lot of
Nation,
things that weren't there.
yeah. The Fire Nation was definitely not played by the race they were supposed to be played by. I can say that.
Oh, Juan just made a face. I saw you, dude.
Yeah. Let's see what else is down the list. The CGI at times is really bad. I was just like, this movie was like $100 million production. What the hell? Let's see. There's
pocketed a good portion of the budget.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Zuko barely has a scar at times. During some scenes, you don't see the scar at all. I'm like, okay, is this Zuko or not? Like, let's see. Excessive exposition. There's so much narration to like move the plot along because they just did not have time to tell the story of this show. Let's see. Ozai was completely miscast. He is not intimidating whatsoever. Like, Azula is in for like 2 scenes, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, and just like those 2 scenes, it was just she didn't have to say anything. I'm like, wow, this girl is really bad as Azula. But there are some things I did like though. Katara's name was pronounced right. That's the only name that was pronounced right. You know, there were some scenes that the bending actually looked pretty cool, and I'm like, oh, this actually looks pretty cool. The Northern Water Tribe like actually looks really cool. Like that looked pretty cool. I'm like, oh, okay. The score at times, the musical score, it's pretty good. Let's see what else. And I guess I liked like the last scene at the end with the tidal wave. That was like the only good scene I feel like with when he like lights up. I'm like, and because the musical score was swelling and like there's just some. It was kind of okay. But overall, I would call this. I wrote this down: a misguided, watered down, disastrous adaptation that barely scratches the surface of the animated show, where everyone and everything is completely out of their element. So yeah, I had a lot to say. But honestly though, I don't think this is the worst movie of all time. I think it's just a bad movie. It's whatever. It's bad, but it's not. It doesn't trigger me like a lot of fans do. I'm just like, I kind of had fun watching it and laughing at it. So yeah. Oh, that was a lot.
Yeah.
To embrace the mindset of c.bo into watching this kind of movie is the dream of every Avatar: The Last Airbender fan to do, because they want something to enjoy out of the material that they cherish their whole life. And I don't think, c.bo, it's honorable that you can see it like that, but none of us here can do that.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know. c.bo's right in the sense that there are some redeeming qualities of this movie. Like one of the things I noticed was whoever casted the extras and whoever did set design did a pretty solid job.
Yeah, definitely.
Those were pretty solid. Like the extras, I never felt like any one of them were out of place. Were the main characters out of place? You better believe they were out of place.
Ong?
Who else? I enjoyed a lot of. I kind of enjoyed the fact that it's like they try. they clearly saw enough of this to get some of the ideas, but at the same time, like, how one of the things I myself could not fully wrap my head around is their reasoning, their belief that the Fire Nation is not capable of producing their own flames when they bend. And if you even watch 2 episodes, and I don't want to keep basing it back and forth because at this point I feel like this movie cannot be compared to the show. But if you watch 2 episodes of the show, you see that they just fight with fire and it just comes out of their body, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like, it comes from their chi, and their chi's in their body. Like, it's so cool. But in this movie, they were like, nah, we're going to make the Fire Nation the most deadly nation in the planet, but take away their one powerful move. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I
Juan or Juan, you have something to say?
I was going to say, it's incredible how the first season of Avatar is 10 hours.
It's about
and
it.
it's like they read the first sentence of each summary of each episode and made that 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And they were like, we just gotta make this movie. And they just kind of like threw everything together.
They just wanted to scratch the surface of it. They didn't want to go any deeper than that because that would just be it would be like it would be longer than a movie, But
yeah, and there were a lot of moments where I honestly thought I missed something, like in the beginning when like they were talking about Aang or whatever. Like, they asked him if they could tell him his name, and then all of a sudden they're back at the Water Tribe, and then all of a sudden the Fire Nation's there, and then all of a sudden they fly to one of the southern air temples, and then that whole span of time we still don't know what Aang's name is. Like, it's 20 minutes of the movie.
His name's not Aang, it's Ong.
Oh, right, sorry, Ong. Yeah. I want to hear other people complain about this now because I don't know what else to say. I really don't.
I want Juan and Pedro to say their piece before I say another thing. So go ahead, one of you.
I was like, this is all from different perspectives of having viewed it. So, like, see both sides from the perspective of like someone who saw the movie first before the show and now has retrospect to look back on it. Jack has saw the full viewing, even though he didn't want to, and he stuck to his conviction to do it.
It's because you told me to. We made you watch a horror movie, and then you made us watch this garbage.
Yeah.
That horror movie was at least good.
Revenge on my end, Jack. But
you're gonna watch Heredity next time.
Oh God.
Or Midsummer.
Okay.
Oh,
I will better myself to that. To any horror movie that you guys give me, just so long as
almost October.
It's almost October.
But one thing that, like, I could not sit through the first half hour of it. All right, I struggled. I severely struggled getting through watching it. Okay, it was like the Ark of the Covenant had opened, and my face was melting with every second passing as I was watching. It was that bad of a movie that I just couldn't. And it wasn't because of an original Avatar The Last Airbender fan, because I am, but that's not why. I was cringing at how bad this entire movie's plot was being delivered. I couldn't take the change in pace, which was just so awkward in every turn. I couldn't take the bad writing that looked so clunky and cliche with every turn. I couldn't take the mispronunciation because maybe they were thinking that they were adhering to actual Asian culture when in reality they were spitting in the face of it. And I couldn't take the fact that they had no idea when to deliver certain expositional plot points in certain parts of the movie. It was just so out of control. As a writer, as a script writer, as a storyteller, it bothers me. and it kills me to think that a man known for suspense and for plot twists, who wrote great movies like The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, like it hurts me to see such a weird fall from grace. And
This is definitely during his roughest. Because after this, he directs After Earth too. This is the worst. This is the worst time of his career. Yeah.
Not like that. Like, what was that movie with Mark Wahlberg and all the aliens?
Oh, The Happening as well. It was It was The Happening, The Last Airbender, and After Earth. Just three movies where you're like, wow.
Yeah, like he had such a bad streak. But back to what I'm trying to say, like this was flawed from the script alone. The fact that, and you know, the guy who plays Zuko, who was also the guy who played the main character in Slumdog Millionaire,
I want
to make the jump.
I want to talk about him for a little second. I think he was the only one. I think he was trying his absolute hardest to try to like salvage it. Like, yeah, he was overacting at times, but like I actually like some scenes that he was in. I'm like, okay, you could tell he was really trying, but it's like, it just wasn't there.
I feel there are a couple actors in this movie that just couldn't fix the stuff that they were given.
Like the actor of Iroh, or Iro, as they were saying. He was actually pretty good too. But you know, there's times I'm like, oh, I could see the Iroh from the show in this guy a little bit. But again,
Iroh and Iro.
So
yeah.
So do you know the princess?
Yue?
Yes. She's a Sami in Korra.
Yeah.
Wait, she's the voice of the Sami?
Yes.
Wow.
She is she's incredible. She's in another TV show that I used to watch a lot called Falling Skies. She's a great actress. And she was given these her performance. It felt like it was done by a robot. A lot of this dialogue just felt like a robot.
Yeah.
Hey, Pedro, you've been quiet this whole time, man. You like, what do you got?
Yeah, Pedro, go ahead. Yeah.
Alright. If I were to describe this movie, I'd use a metaphor like this. Let's say you have a puppy, okay? Now,
I like this analogy.
now, this puppy you love so much. It's giving you so much love and joy, and you've been through so much together. You went through the woods. You found turtles in the pond and the creek. You had your first campfire with it. You've been through all these wonderful adventures together. Let's say a mad scientist comes to your house and says he wants to clone your puppy so you can have double the love. All right, and he clones the puppy, and what comes out is a monstrosity. Bulging eyes and oozing pores. Not saying bark, but saying.
What is going on? We are wild this afternoon.
That dog would be much more entertaining and lovable than this movie.
Wow.
This movie, I didn't even want to watch it. Hell, I protested. This movie, as a hardcore fan and someone who begrudgingly likes Legend of Korra,
which Juan should watch on Netflix.
I will one day.
I saw what?
It's a good series. You should watch it.
Yeah, it is.
The princess is in it. Her name is Seychelle Gabriel. She's amazing.
Yeah,
you should watch it.
She
was also in The Spirit.
And I
Another good movie. And
I read the comics for this series for both Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender. As a big fan like me, this movie, it's like someone took a dump on this beautiful series, then molded that dump into what he thought was a masterpiece. But it's still, can I curse here?
Yeah, of course.
It's still a heaping piece of shit molded into some kind of half-baked man. Like, you can dress it up and put glitter on it all you want. You can't convince me that piece of shit is art.
Yeah. No, you're right. No.
Right?
But Juan. So You could actually watch all of Artemis Fowl, but you couldn't watch all of this, and I'm really surprised. Like Artemis Fowl, I think, in my opinion, is a lot worse.
Well, here's the thing. Artemis Fowl's only redeeming quality was that it actually had acting power that could save it in the sense that it could, make it somewhat tolerable to watch. Colin Farrell, Dame Judi Dench really helped keep me, there just to see them try to carry such a bad movie on their acting skills alone. Same with Josh Gad, in Artemis Fowl. Like, they tried their damnedest, and I appreciated them trying their damnedest. But there was no star power that could have saved this movie, even if you put
there are no stars in this movie at all. The most famous person is Dev Patel and the guy who plays Iroh.
Exactly. Like, even if you put some major stars, like let's say Anthony Hopkins as Iroh, that would be the only saving actor who could make this movie.
That would be actually pretty lit. I'm not gonna lie.
So
That would be pretty sick.
The Last Airbender just didn't have a saving grace. It didn't have any. All right.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing I could pull from this movie, and I only saw 30 minutes of it. There was nothing from this movie I could look at that would make me feel like there was something worth saving. It just wasn't.
That's so unfair, dude. I can't believe I sat through this whole thing. I didn't even want to watch this movie. And you only watched 30 minutes of it and then went, no, I'm out. Forget it. I would have stopped after the beginning intro where they just bend in silence and then have a narration. Do you know how frustrating that is?
I sat
to watch that beginning and just sit there like, where's the narration?
Yeah.
Oh, it's accompanied by text and not in the organic. She's still talking. Oh, okay. Oh, so now everything's the Fire Nation. Cool. It's kind of like someone watched someone saw something that was really good, and then this movie is just that friend trying to tell you all the important parts of the show because you're too lazy to watch it.
I still stick by my.
Now, I'm on the Wikipedia page of this movie right now, and I'm just reading like how people how the crew like responds to this movie after it's released, and apparently like M. Night Shyamalan's like, yeah, I regret taking this movie. Like I don't know what.
Well, at least he shows remorse. That's cool.
Yeah. And, he was like, this just wasn't my style. Pretty much, he's like, I was trying to just do something I wasn't built for, and yeah. And like Dev Patel was like, oh, like I don't know what I felt so overwhelmed with this movie. He's like, I this is pretty much the reason why I don't really do big budget movies anymore. And I'm like, damn, like this is
sure, that's the reason why you don't do big budget movies anymore.
Wait, did he do Slumdog Millionaire before or after Last Airbender?
No, Slumdog was before this.
When they were doing press tours for Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'm just trying to like picture in my head.
I have a question. Have you guys actually seen the whole movie before? Like when it came out? Like, did you two see it?
This movie?
No, Juan and Pedro.
I saw it.
What about you, Juan? You never saw it before? Okay. Did you see it back when it first came out? Like back in like
this movie that we're talking about right now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So this is the first time you saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I warned you. I warned all of you.
I knew it was bad. I already saw it, but I saw it before I saw the show.
Watch. Me and Pedro were fully on the fence. We were like, we don't want to stare into this one for too long. We did. Juan listened because he stopped halfway through the movie and went, nah, he's right. I don't want to watch this.
I was like Peter Griffin while he was watching Failure to Launch. I'm like, I'm done.
Now, I feel like I would feel the things you guys are feeling regarding this movie if I ever watched Dragon Ball Evolution, which I still haven't watched. Because Dragon Ball is a thing I love.
I've seen Dragon Ball Evolution.
That movie feels very much like this movie in the sense that they just went, hey, Dragon Ball is a cool and identifiable IP. Let's just do that, but not pay attention to anything.
It's kind of like, did you guys see the Death Note movies on Netflix?
No, I did not.
I did. Don't do it.
I wasn't going
I'm
to.
sure Death Note is better than this. I'm
Good.
sorry.
No.
How is it Hollywood can't find a way to translate, good animes and TV shows like these?
Speaking of that, so what do you think could have salvaged this movie somewhat? Like I feel like okay, so like I feel like there is a way to make this could have been good. I feel like in some other reality, like if it was like if they took this as seriously as like Lord of the Rings, I feel like there could have been a chance. If it was like 3 hours long, epic, and not just for like kids, but like people of all ages that people can watch. Like
I'm sticking with my statement that Anthony Hopkins should have played General Ira. That's it.
that would have been lit. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I feel like this movie I feel like first off, having them come to the conclusion that they cut it down to an hour and 45 minutes. Not a great idea, because you're essentially trying to do 10 hours in a tenth of the time. It's not possible.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done a lot more doing than telling, or showing than telling.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many scenes did we sit through
where Qatar's just saying what happened?
Where they talk about what they're gonna do, what they did, what they want to do, the history of things that had happened, things that will happen. Like
I like that one scene. There was one scene that felt like an actual movie where it was like where Ong was visited I think the Northern Air Temple, and he saw all the statues of the avatars. I'm like, oh, okay, this almost feels like a real movie.
Here's the thing, like with a show like Avatar, where there's just so much to take in, and there's so much detail to the plot that adds backstory to the driving force of the whole show. You can't turn it into a movie. It doesn't fit into the typical hour and a half format that movie studios usually follow. It just doesn't. Right? It's a show that demands multiple cut episodes in order for each enriching detail to have its own time to shine, and you can't do that in the movie format.
Yeah, and I feel like this is kind of the similar topic that I brought up in the last podcast, which was, do we really need to adapt things to be movies when like they work very well as a certain format already? But yeah, this movie
is a case of what not to do.
You know what? In some other reality where the concept of Avatar not being a TV show first, and this came out, I think this would be the trigger to make it a TV show. Because there is enough, like, if you are someone that is not clearly any of us, and you've never heard of Avatar: The Last Airbender before, and you watched this movie first, and then saw the TV show,
which was me, yeah,
it's you get a better appreciation. It's in some instances I could see it being you get a better appreciation of the show because it does a better job at explaining things, but the movie can at least introduce you to the concept of, well, there's people and they can manipulate certain elements, and there's one guy who can manipulate all of them, but he's a child yet also 100 years old, and he's got a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility. And but it is 100% one of those things that there's so many things happening at the same time, and you only got an hour and 45 minutes. What are you really going to expand on? But that reminded me of the thing that I wanted to talk about before, which is they did like pinpoint like some things in this movie that are like starkly similar, if not exactly similar, to the show. Like the blue demon scene.
The blue spirit?
Yeah, the blue spirit scene.
I actually like that scene.
But like it was a good scene because it was almost identical to how it happened in the show.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
he breaks in all stealthy during like the whole thing outside, and he comes in, he beats up the guards, and then he comes in with swords. He even does the thing where the one sword magically turns into two, and then comes at Ong with the sword dance, and he freaks out, and like that whole thing was exactly how it should have been. And then it just goes right back into this weird Mod Podge movie of people just saying things to each other. And we just forgot. Like, I immediately almost forgot about that whole scene because it just fell right back into this weird sense of, oh, it's my turn. I must say the information that I have in my mind. Airbenders can meditate for 4 days.
Yeah. But okay, so we're speaking on how maybe this movie could have been salvaged, but now there's another thing that's gonna go on. There's gonna be another live action adaptation of this property, and it's gonna be on Netflix. And I think a couple months ago, the original creators actually left the project, saying that what they wanted to do was not aligning with what Netflix wanted to do, and they left. So now that has happened, is there any hope for this adaptation on Netflix to be good? Is there any? Is there a chance? Will it end up like this movie, or will it actually be something respectable?
I want to hear Pedro's thoughts on it first, because he's been the most quiet on this.
He's so quiet. He's fuming.
He's the most horrified. That's why.
He's literally melting a hole in his chair from the amount of like anger.
So Pedro, can this Netflix adaptation be good?
In a word, I don't think so. That's 4 words, but yeah, no. It will be good.
5 if you don't count the contraction.
Anyway, look, the thing that makes a show good is creative control. For one thing, all right, writing, art, acting, all important, but creativity and how something's gonna go is important. And with the original creators gone, I don't see how they're gonna match up with what the creators did with Avatar: Last Airbender and put it into this show, because they're the reason that this was actually a good show. All right, they poured their heart and soul into this, and without their support, this is going to go to another big studio bigwig, and then he's going to try and copy whatever they did in the original series and put it into a live action setting, and we might just get another M. Night Shyamalan fiasco. And I've seen their other work with the Dragon Prince. All right, that show is magnificent. That's all them. So if you take them out of this project, if they don't come back, this show will not be good. I guarantee it.
What about you guys? Any opinions on this Netflix adaptation?
So I feel like the creators of the show there's a reason why everyone enjoyed their ideas. It's because they're good. They're good ideas, and they work for the show because it's their show, and they had to fight tooth and nail just to even get like half of the stuff that they wanted to do for Nickelodeon on the show. So who knows what the show could have been, even like if Nickelodeon didn't step in and put some limitations on their work. Like, we still all love Avatar: The Last Airbender, even though like it's not even like their full like slew of ideas that they wanted to even do for the show. It was just an outlet for them to broadcast their show and people can enjoy it and everything. And I feel like that's really shown in Korra. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they weren't able to promote, or storylines that they can progress through that but because of bigger companies putting limitations on what they can do creatively, because well, the market numbers show that if you talk about lesbians, it's not going to be a good show to children, and blah 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 blah. But in all honesty, in terms of like the Netflix series, you want to hope, right? We all want to hope that this thing's going to be really good and that it's going to be, at least better than what happened with M. Shyamalan. But like, I really don't see it happening. It's kind of like, I just don't have words for it anymore. I want them to stop. Just stop. We got a good thing the first time. You don't gotta keep doing it. Just keep pushing for Avatar: The Last Airbender. You don't see them remaking Friends. They want to just keep Friends going. Everyone loves Friends, or The Office. Everyone loves The Office. Like, you don't see remakes of them. They just get rehashed onto a new platform that everyone likes to use, and then the people just binge watch it. So why try to keep reinventing the wheel with this particular IP if it's shown that if it's good enough, people are just going to keep watching it regardless? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's good. It's a good show. Just watch the show. If you were to take one thing away from this podcast, watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I guess you could watch Avatar.
And if something's good already the first time, just leave it be. Like,
I feel like Jack's like that woman from like 2006 who's like, leave Britney alone.
Leave Aang alone. Aang is best.
I would be like, I don't get why like they got to do a live action like remake of this. Why don't they fund a continuation and like adapt some storylines from the comic books of post Avatar and like do like see what happened to them after all this stuff happened. Pedro, that'd be pretty cool, right?
Tackle the ground.
Like a new animation project with the original cast and crew back, like with new animation and stuff like that, with obviously updated visuals and stuff like that. But still, like,
but like it's the same reason why Disney keeps making live action remakes instead of original content. Familiar, and people will pay to see it.
Yeah, but how big of a deal would it be? It's like, oh, we're continuing Avatar. How crazy would people go? Like, instead of just saying, oh, we're remaking it. No, there's already a remake out there and it did not go well. So what makes you think? Look, I think this is going to be I think this is going to be more respectable and better than Shyamalan's movie, just because Shyamalan's movies exist and that's probably the basis they're going off of. It's like, all right, we cannot do what this did. We're going in our direction. So I feel like there will be some redeeming qualities of Netflix's adaptation, but I have no hope for it as well. I think it would probably just be, I don't know, But like I was saying, like, I think there should have been a sequel series, an animated sequel series. I feel like would have been a lot better than this.
There's so much they could have done. They could have tackled previous avatars. They could have done
Kyoshi stuff.
Yeah.
Kyoshi.
That would have been so good.
There's already Kyoshi stuff though. But
but a Kyoshi show, not a book, a show.
That would be way cooler, honestly.
Like and like like they did sequel stuff for Hey Arnold, Angry Zim, and like
Invader Zim,
yeah. Rocko's Modern Life. They did like stuff like that on Netflix.
Modern Life is a sequel?
There's like a little sequel thing, yeah, on Netflix.
What?
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, so
How good it was. All remembered.
So yeah, if they did that, like, or if they decide to go like do a show about another Avatar but animated with the cast and crew back, that'd be awesome. But they didn't do that, and they were like, they're going the Disney route. We're just gonna remake it and put our stamp on it.
You know, there was a rumor about a few years ago that they were gonna make a new Avatar series with twins. Each of them having two elements that they can bend. One earth and fire.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, but that's not happening.
Who knows?
So I think we got
Or
all
make
our.
Or even make it about a character that's not the Avatar.
Then
Make it about.
How would it be involved as an Avatar series?
Well, it's like
About the cabbage man. The cabbage man.
have it be like oh god, I had an example of the movie in my head and I forgot about it. But have it be about a character who's always involved in the events of what happens with the Avatar, which is essentially a cabbage man. but like have the show like the Jason, what's that Jason Bourne movie? Cross, what's his name? Alex Cross with Hawkeye. What's his face?
No, there was a spinoff of that. I remember when that came out. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking. But that movie is a movie that's running parallel to the timeline of the second Bourne movie. So
yeah, but it wasn't that good though.
It's the Bourne Legacy.
The Bourne Legacy.
Yeah.
But even regardless of whether that movie itself is good or not, like people didn't like it because it didn't have Matt Damon in it. Let's just get that out of the way. People didn't like it because it didn't have Matt Damon.
I remember being bored watching it.
I just think it would be interesting to show that there are other things happening in the world at the same time as someone like the Avatar is out there doing things that are affecting the world on a larger scale. Whereas you can then see, like on the personal scale, what's happening in the day-to-day lives of some of the people in the Avatar universe, well, either pre and post like events of the Avatar coming across their lives or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a writer. I'm just saying it's an interesting idea. I would find it interesting if they did that.
You know, Jack, this is kind of interesting. Like maybe they could do something like the 100-Year War from the point of view of a Fire Nation soldier, and his life is affected by the Avatar, and what happens afterwards.
Yeah, or even the events of, like, you can do one about Boomy. How did Boomy become king of the Earth Kingdom?
Or I like to see like just a show about the kids growing up. You know, like how did Aang's years between Last Airbender and when he dies. Like I like to see that. Like we only saw glimpses of that in Korra, and I'm like, I wanted more of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would love to see like the continuation of Sokka's life and how it went.
Yeah, we barely got any Sokka. What the hell happened with him?
At first, he got the moon. Then he got Suki, and then possibly Toph. We don't know. I'd love to know
right there, baby.
So I'd love to know, like, how is it that Sokka kept pulling these women? So I kind of want to see maybe a series about how Sokka lived his life and was just this womanizer for the rest of his time.
Sokka's a very charming lad. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
I found it interesting that someone pointed this out in a meme where they were like, the Avatar mastered all four elements, just like how Sokka mastered all four non-elements. I was thinking about it, like, wow, shit, they're right, because you spent all that time like learning sword fighting in the Fire Nation and the fan fighting with the Kyoshi warriors, and I can't remember Earth. Or was it the Earth Nation he did the sword stuff?
It was with the Water Nation. He learned how to like be a tactician. With the Earth Nation, he learned technique and teamwork with the fans. In the Fire Nation, he learned technology with regards to like the blimp and all the innovations that he did with that professor.
Mhm.
So that'd be more the Air Nation, and the Fire Nation would be sword fighting.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's what it was. The Kyoshi Warriors was Earth, and then the advancements in travel and whatnot was the air the not air nomads, the exiled people that live in the air nomad temple. The smart dudes. God, this show's so good. Can we just watch the show? I'm just gonna watch the show for the rest of the
I'm gonna
podcast.
watch the show, man.
Uh,
Well, you know,
so
before
yeah, we said, I think we said all we said about how bad The Last Airbender was, whether there's any hope for a Netflix adaptation, and how good the original show and the lore is. So I guess now it's time for our next movie. And I actually had a pretty decent idea for the next movie. It's this new Netflix movie with Tom Holland, and I'm kind of interested in it. And would you guys be interested in that?
that's the one where like he's in tech, where he's like in a southern place with Robert Pattinson as some weird preacher.
Yeah,
Say the name of the movie, please.
The Devil All the Time.
The devil all the time. I gotta look that.
Those kind of movies
The
are
plot summary on Netflix is sinister characters converge around a young man devoted to protecting those he loves in a post-war backwoods town teeming with corruption and brutality. That sounds pretty interesting. I watch that.
I'm always a little iffy with these kind of movies because it's always kind of a 50-50 shot on whether they're good or bad. But considering the star power in it, I'm fairly optimistic, so I'm down with it.
What are you, Pedro?
I would
Dak?
watch either. I would watch either that or the other movie that came out recently about social networks, the documentary, The Social Trap or something like that.
I heard it's pretty good.
The Social Dilemma. The
We
Social Dilemma.
We haven't done a documentary on this yet.
It's on Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix. It came out a couple days ago, or no, it came out at the beginning of this year. But a lot of people are talking about it.
We done
Yeah,
whole,
I'll do this.
we haven't done a documentary yet.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Which documentary?
The Social Dilemma. It's about adopting. It's about social media usage in a pandemic and how people have adopted.
I'd like to see that.
All right, cool. All right. We have a good, we'll watch something that's actually good this time.
It has been. There have been some pretty solid reviews across the board. There's not many huge names in it, but a lot of people. I'll just read a quick New York Times thing. Documentary from Jeff Orlowski. I pronounced your last name wrong. I'm sorry. Explores how addiction and privacy breaches are features, not bugs, of social media platforms. Its value lies in pulling together some alarming, if abstract, concepts into a genuinely scary whole. So it's gonna be interesting.
It's like Black Mirror, but it's real.
All right, cool. We got our next movie, The Soldier's Dilemma. All right, so I guess our next topic is going to be something is finally back that Juan was looking forward to all year, and football's back, baby. So, what were your thoughts on how everything turned out?
Before I deliver anything, Jack, how's your fantasy team doing, brother?
One of them's doing really well. I scored over 140 points this week. The other one, I scored 90.
Dude, my fantasy league was actually booming this week one. Dude, I got Kyler Murray, man. Kyler Murray was probably one of the best pickups I ever made ever. Holy crap.
I won 2 out of my 6 fantasy leagues, y'all. I'm 2 for 6.
You're in 6 fantasy leagues?
Yes.
How does your mind even comprehend all that?
I just want to say, I am the happiest guy here because of how the Packers won on Sunday. That was hell of a show.
Also? Sorry. Can we also talk about how Washington just did a thing and just kind of blew everyone's mind for a second?
Right,
yeah, new team.
Let's all pick one game to talk about and just focus in on it. And
new name, new team.
new team. Who this?
A team that doesn't even have a logo on it, man. Like honestly, that is just embarrassing for the Eagles.
I think they just have a chip on their shoulder now.
Yeah, but think about it. The Washington football team, ridiculed in the media for its sexual harassment culture that has been cultivated by its owner over the last 20 years. A head coach suffering from cancer, which I hope he recovers very, 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 very soon. Questions at the QB position. And a lot of their players have gotten in trouble. Reuben Foster was a domestic abuser who suffered a torn ACL 2 years ago, still hasn't recovered. And Darius Geis, also a domestic abuser, just got released, and he could never stay healthy on the field to begin with. So this was a joke of a team going into Sunday, and they somehow beat Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles. Granted, the Eagles are missing 3 starters on the offensive line to season-ending injuries. Nevertheless,
Eagles are trash though.
trash.
Eagles are so overrated now. Like
my boss for the internship I work for is a huge Eagles fan, and I predicted on my sports podcast, the Air It Out podcast, that that the Washington football team was going to upset the Eagles. He didn't believe me. He was trash talking me the whole weekend. When it actually happened, I'm just like, so you got something to say?
what was the response?
Nothing.
Damn.
Yeah. And I'm gonna bring it up again on Thursday because I just like to rub it in. You know, here's the salt, there's the wound.
So wait, Jack, do you have a favorite NFL team?
I like sport. I like to watch it's a good game.
I like sport.
I like sport. No, I don't know. I don't have an allegiance to any one particular team. I guess I used to be a Giants fan because my home is a Giants home. So but like I don't know. I don't follow football as much. I only follow it when I'm in a fantasy league, which is very, very infrequently. So I was a Seahawks fan that one season where they just blew it in the Super Bowl. And that was 2014?
Yeah.
2014.
The Super Bowl was 2015, yeah.
But ever since then, I've been kind of just on the fence about all football. Like I could kind of recognize who good teams are and who bad team is, but I don't know who player on good team is, and that's why I'm bad at fantasy. But what was it? I did watch the Saints and I was gonna look up the score.
Buccaneers.
It was the Saints and the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
that game.
23.
It's been a while, but I can't remember a game where I've seen so many interceptions thrown between teams. That was kind of a whole honking mess right there, which is good because I have the Saints defense on one of my fantasy things. So thank you, Saints. But also, what are you doing?
I have 2 of the top receivers in a couple of my fantasy leagues. I have Mike Evans in 2 fantasy leagues and Michael Thomas on another, and both combined for 5 catches for 19 yards and a single touchdown on Sunday.
My friends have a hot take, or one of my friends has a hot take, that Tom Brady is only good because of his team, and there's a lot of people out there that want to say Tom Brady's the best, just the best boy out there. And if you needed evidence, that was the game to see it. Interception.
Speaking of that, Juan, how do you think the Bucks are gonna do this year? Because people are hyping them up, and I think Troy Aikman was like, "Oh, this team's gonna get out of the NFC," and I'm like, let's just see how they do first. Like,
I'll give my take in a minute. Pedro with the Chiefs hat. I want to point that out. Pedro, you're looking gallantly with the Chiefs hat, sir.
Thank you.
As for my take for the Buccaneers, I'm going to have to say that it's kind of like the Cleveland Browns of 2019. They have all these weapons and all these like amazing players lined up and a pretty underrated defense, but they just can't mesh. There's no clear number one that you can rely on for certain situations. And, I love Bruce Arians. He's a great coach, but Tom Brady's a system quarterback that can't throw the ball down the field. And trying to mix his style of play with your offense just won't work whatsoever. So I'm predicting 7-9 for the Bucks.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm low on them this year, but that's okay because they have another year to try to get that chemistry going next year if Tom Brady doesn't retire by then. And actually, fun fact, did you know the Saints were going to sign Tom Brady if Drew Brees retired?
Interesting.
That was a report that came out right before the Bucks and Saints game.
Interesting.
But, sorry. Go.
No, I was about to ask Pedro. I see you wearing that cheese head right now. So, what are your thoughts on the Packers? They're looking good this year?
Well, honestly, I only saw the game through red zone, so through highlights and clips. But from what I could gather, there's still a lot to be desired. But this game showed me that Aaron Rodgers still has more to give. In my opinion.
Definitely, absolutely.
That arm is the golden goose of that franchise right now. And I hope that we see a good performance from him this year, like we did last year when he made it all the way to the
conference title, yeah.
Yeah, the conference title. But this time, I really hope he edges out a Super Bowl win. There's potential. I think there is potential. As long as we don't have to face San Francisco again.
I mean, San Fran just lost against the Cardinals with c.bo's Kyler Murray leading the way there. So that's fine. Like a lot of people think that Aaron Rodgers is gonna like falter because he's 36 now and he's getting older. But I saw vintage A-Rod out there throwing dimes in places you shouldn't be throwing dimes, and he did it anyways. And I was just blah. And it's amazing to watch just such grace and elegance and being performed on the field. And the best part is that everyone's doubting Rodgers from having an all-pro season and doubting him for missing a step in his advanced age. Not to mention, the Packers drafted his replacement in the first round this year. So not only does he have a chip to play on, but now Green Bay might be losing their signal caller after this year if he has a good year.
All right, so I guess I want to ask your opinion on the two New York teams that. So first off, what did you think of the Jets' performance on Sunday against the Bills? Is there any hope for the Jets? Because this just have been a bad game one.
Sure.
A lot of my Jets fans, Jets fans, whatever.
Jets fans? Don't they want to remain anonymous?
They're saying tank for Trevor.
What do you mean remain anonymous? Juan's wearing a Jets shirt right now.
I know he's not ashamed, but his friends are.
Oh,
a lot of my friends are saying tank for Trevor Lawrence, who's the top quarterback in the 2021.
Didn't y'all just tank for Darnold? I thought Darnold was supposed to be that guy.
We thought so too, and then looking at him, his footwork's so terrible, his decision making is erratic, and he's not developing under Adam Gase. The offensive line,
second year,
third year, and he's
crap! It is his third year. Oh man, that's how much. Yeah.
Let me say one thing. I still believe in Sam Darnold. I am still a Sam Darnold believer because the kid's young. He's 23 years old. You're expecting him to do things at such an advanced time in his life, and he's still picking up the offense as he go. It doesn't help that he's had 3 offensive coordinators in the past 3 years. It doesn't help that Adam Gase is one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen come through New York, and I've seen plenty of them. It doesn't help that the defense is shitty, and that there's and that all the top Jets players that were here last year are all gone and doing very well on their respective teams. Robbie Anderson, former deep threat, had 115 yards and a touchdown with the Carolina Panthers. Jamal Adams, former top safety with the Seahawks, now had a hell of a game, 8 solo tackles and 2 sacks against the Falcons. Brian Winters, the former starting guard, had a great game against the Jets on Sunday for the running game. It's just, the Jets have good players, but the coaching staff that they have to control them and to teach them just doesn't know how to keep them together and breed a culture of a winning culture. And it's been like that for years. And it is just it is sickening and it is frustrating. And I don't know why I still stay a Jets fan. I could quit anytime I want and be a bandwagoner, but I'm not going to do that because I am I'm a sports masochist. And I take this pain for the past 10 years, and I'll take it for another 40.
So is there any hope for this season or no?
Hell no. I'm predicting that they won't pick up Sam Darnold's 5th-year option. I'm predicting that they're going to go 5-11 or 4-12, and pick Trevor Lawrence with the top pick. I'm predicting Adam Gase, the current head coach, is going to get fired by week 8 and replaced by Greg Williams. And
oh my God, so many.
Going to be suffering for another 10 years, and that there won't be any playoff hope for the Jets until then. But you know what? That's the Jets fan in me. The NFL analyst in me also agrees with the Jets fan in me. So objective.
And the Giants, the other New York team, played yesterday, and it looked like they were pretty outmatched by the Steelers. I didn't watch the whole game, but from what I was watching, I'm like, yeah, this team was very outmatched, and I'm expecting another bad season from the Giants, and no hope for them as well.
I'm glad I put big old Ben in for be my QB this week.
But I do see some development on our young players, like Danny Dimes and Saquon, and I like our new receiver. That we have.
Yeah, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
That arm is going to fail him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So you made a good draft pick there?
I'm going to milk it while I can. Because he's all I got.
What were you saying, Juan? You were saying something?
Saquon Barkley. You're saying had a good game, bro.
No. I'm saying this season will be another good stepping stone. That's what I'm saying.
Hold on there, bud.
Say because Ben Roethlisberger had more rushing than Saquon Barkley.
Oh no. Yeah. I knew to shut him down. Yeah, of course. I was saying that this season will be another good stepping stone for him. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I would love to agree with you, but Joe Judge is your head coach. And Joe Judge is a Bill Belichick disciple. And if you look at the track record of Bill Belichick disciples in the NFL, you will see it is horrific. Josh McDaniels was a failure in Denver. Matt Patricia is looking like a failure in Detroit. Bill O'Brien has had some relative success, but his personnel choice has been tyrannical, to say the least.
Are we talking about that Tennessee guy? Is that?
No. Mike Vrabel might be the only Belichick disciple I have even the slightest modicum of hope for.
I have confidence in that man. He seems to know what he's doing compared to any other head coach I've seen.
Mike Vrabel? Yeah, no, I agree with Pedro on that.
What do you think of Sterling Shepard?
Good fantasy pick if you can get him. He's more likely for like a flex 2 option if you're deep on your bench. But with
I bring him up because he's, according to the recent stats, I'm looking at the fantasy page because this is how I can contribute to the conversation because I can't remember anything. He was the 3rd highest in receiving for that game in terms of yardage. 47 yards.
No, Sterling Shepard is good. Like he's a good player.
Here's the thing, like with the Giants offense, it's kind of a mixed bag of how it's going to go. We saw Jason Garrett kind of like pull out these.
Jason Garrett. Yeah.
Like Jason Garrett is known for being an underwhelming play caller. He'll call safe, short passing plays and try to like create and doesn't really create good situations for his running backs. I'll say Saquon Barkley. So I'm kind of nervous as to what the Giants' offense can produce. The Giants' defense, though, severely underrated in my opinion from what I watched. I mean, they got the Big Ben all night. The defense made the secondary really knew when to make plays at just the right time. They were broken in coverage a few times, but still, they did what they had to. So I'd say the Giants' defense, a potential rising facet for that team.
All right.
So one more player I want to bring up because he kind of caught my eye is Blake Martinez
Oh yeah.
on the Giants.
Yeah.
Is he? It's I'm trying to find more information about him, but is he one of the newer picks from this year?
Martinez
he-
is a fourth-year pro. He spent the first 3 years with the Green Bay Packers. He led the league in tackles last year with the Packers and signed a 3-year deal with the Giants when he got there. A lot of people say that he only benefited from Green Bay having a killer pass rush, so that's why he got the big contract. But watching him play last night, he has talent. And
Yeah, he's gotten 8 solo tackles and 4 assisted tackles.
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty solid for
Martinez is honestly one of the more underrated linebackers in the NFL. I will have to say. And the Packers were a fool to let him go, Pedro.
All right. I think we're reaching the end of our podcast. We had a lot to say about everything we talked about.
really quick how the Ravens destroyed the Browns.
You know what's funny? I had the Ravens defense on my bench.
I have a Steelers defense, which is
My friend, one of the people in my league had the Vikings defense during his matchup and almost lost because they gave him -9. That's so high. I've never in my time doing fantasy have ever seen anyone give a score of -9. Like it almost cost him the game.
Tell your friend that's what you get for playing against the Green Bay Packers.
Wait, he tried to. I have to look up this trade he sent me because it was really funny. He wanted me to give him. He was going to give me Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, and the Vikings defense, and I would give him the Patriots defense and Devontae Adams.
Well, speaking of the Patriots, Cam Newton, man, it's looking like he's gonna have a top year, man.
Oh yeah. Also, Jack, take that trade.
Why? I don't want the Vikings defense.
I say, don't take that trade.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, here, do it.
No, don't do it. Look, no, Cam Newton looked amazing.
Yeah.
Well, like, he was mediocre as a passer, 175 through the air, but on the ground, 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. I have Cam Newton in 2 fantasy leagues for myself. He helped me win both of them.
Yeah, watch out for the Patriots. They're still going to be really good.
Look, just because Tom Brady's gone from New England doesn't mean Bill Belichick is. All right, that man is a schemer.
I hope Miles Sanders comes back.
Also, a little bit of NFL information. The Browns are shopping Odell Beckham Jr. Allen Robinson wants out of Chicago, both wide receivers. And Jarvis Landry is currently going through an injury right now. I can't tell. Oh, yeah, he has a hip injury. So adjust your line properly, gentlemen.
Where do you think Odell can land?
New England.
You're not the first person who I saw say that.
I've heard say that.
They have the cap room. They have a culture that Odell could, mix in with.
And Odell would respect Bill Belichick, absolutely.
Exactly. And also, just make it happen, honestly, because Odell's been wanting to go to New England for a long time.
Interesting. So if that happens, that'd be crazy. And I think the Patriots would be probably the favorite to win it if they do get Odell.
I think so too, especially because N'Keal Harry's not that good of a wide receiver. Julian Edelman's getting old, and there's really no other weapon in the passing game that you can rely on up there.
So if the Patriots win a Super Bowl again, would it hurt as much if without Tom Brady being there or no?
It would for me because I respect Tom Brady, but I hate the Patriots. So, like, for me, it's like, I want to see Tom Brady succeed more than I want to see Bill Belichick and the Patriots succeed.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So maybe Packers Patriots Super Bowl, Pedro.
God willing.
Last time that happened, Packers obliterated the Patriots.
Yeah.
But that was a different team and different personnel. So
The Packers and Patriots never met in the Super Bowl, did they?
yeah, they did. 1994, the Packers played against the Brett Favre. The Packers, led by Brett Favre, played against Bill Parcells' Patriots, and they won.
Oh yes.
Won.
I forgot that that's who the Packers beat with Brett Favre. I completely forgot about that.
Go Pack, go!
All right. So I think we reached the end of our podcast. Next week we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about. The Social Dilemma, PS5, even more NFL stuff. And yeah, there'll be a lot of things to talk about. It's going to be a good podcast next week. And I already can't wait. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for
Thank you for having us as always.
Yeah, we'll be back next week and with some really good topics and probably even more news to even talk about. All right, guys. Later.
Hooty hoot. You never see it coming. You'll be dinner and fence around. God,